Hey Rose, welcome to the call.
Thank you.
For joining me today. Special call today. You're gonna talk a bit about how you came to see me and got through your back pain. So why don't you get us started then? Tell everyone a bit about what was coming up for you before you saw me, what the struggle was, what the symptoms were, and then I'll ask more questions after that. So why don't you start with that?
Yeah, sure. So it was about a year ago now, I think, that I first reached out to you. And it was because I had lower back pain, had been having kind of persistent lower back pain for about a year. Um, Maybe more than a year actually, maybe like a year and a half or so. Which kind of started out with kind of I think I was helping my uncle with a strenuous job, and kind of strained probably like a muscle or something. Um, and then the pain kind of, you know, like my back hurt, pain kind of went away. And then it kind of came back. Um, and then, yeah, just kind of ended up with what I thought was like chronic back pain. Which was just kind of really affecting everything in my life. Um, I was at the time I was just finishing my master's. I was living in Leeds and I was doing a master's in dietetics. So what kind of felt like it should be the start of my kind of life and career. It felt like it was really putting like a dampener on it. Because I felt like I couldn't really enjoy anything because this back pain was like consuming my whole life. Um, but yeah, I think like before I reached out to you, I had like tried obviously a lot of different like physical therapies and like kind of ruled out like sinister things. Like I had gotten an MRI, I think I got an ultrasound at one stage. I'd been to a chiropractor, been to osteopaths, I'd been to physiotherapists. Um, I was kind of at the point where I was like willing to just try anything. Like if someone said you need to like hop on a flight to like Australia and like, we had the solution there, I would have done it. I was really, really desperate. Um, because nothing was seeming to work for me.
Yeah, no, I can remember that. Just give me anything kind of situation you get yourself into. Um,
Yeah.
so the everything that you tried the normal stuff like physios and doctors and
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a neurosurgeon actually, and like basically everyone was telling me like there's, it's like it's muscular, like it should heal. I was seeing a chiropractor, I think for like quite consistently for like maybe like 3 months, like every week. Um, and like she was really just confused as to like why I like wasn't feeling better with all these different exercises that she was giving me and like different treatments. I had like dry needling and like cupping and um yeah, she was like she was like looking at my like scan results and like it was, my spine looked healthy. The neurosurgeon I went to see, I remember he was like, you have like a perfectly healthy spine. It's just muscular. Like it'll like take like you can take like painkillers, but like at that stage I had had pain for like I don't know, like 8 or 9 months. So like I was like, yeah, like it's just muscular, but I'm in pain like all day, every day. Like I'm a really active person. I always have been. I've like played sports growing up. And I come from like quite an active family. And like I'm quite into running and just like going to the gym. I really like being outdoors. And I kind of just stopped doing all of that. And I was like really afraid to do anything to make it worse. Um, and yeah, I just was like really, really upset all the time, really affected my mood. I kind of, yeah, I was just kind of like feeling really hopeless.
Great, you're like preemptively answering the questions that
Right.
Actually, he's about to ask me how it affected me. Yeah. So, okay, bless you. So it did. It affected your mood. It affected your ability to do sports.
Yeah, I mean, I've never like struggled, like luckily, like I've never really struggled with my mental health before, but like I think just about around the time I reached out to you, I like felt like I was um like unfamiliar to me and like really frightening. Um and I had just moved to London. I just like started my first job like as a dietitian in a hospital. Um and like I would come home from work every day and have to just like lie down on my bed because I was in so much pain. Um, I was like I remember like booking in for like an occupational health appointment to like try to get some like certain chair um to like help with my back because obviously like I spend a lot of time at a desk like writing up notes. Um and yeah, I just felt like I was in this really like new like city that was like really new to me and like um was like quite overwhelming. I was like having my first job. I just moved into a new flat and like this pain was just like consuming everything. And I started feeling really like withdrawn from everything. So I just moved to London and I had my like I just started my first job after like finishing my degree. Um and it was quite overwhelming as it was, like in a new city, starting a new job, living with new flatmates. And then on top of that, like my back pain was just like affecting everything. I was making new friends and like having like plans at the weekend and like being really, really worried about like would these plans like have a lot of like walking or standing involved, and like just like really like worried and like really sad that like just these like things that everyone else could just do so easily, like I felt like you know I was almost felt like I was like had a disability. I don't know if you're allowed to say that, so maybe you might have to edit it. But I almost felt like I just had like this thing that was holding me back so much from everything. And then I guess like I was so afraid all the time of like how was this what the rest of my life is going to look like.
Mm.
Um, that yeah, I was just like, you know, I just found like I was in tears on the phone to my mom every week. And like, naturally like my parents were just getting quite worried about me because like, I was so upset like all the time and like there was just kind of no answers from like doctors or like kind of physical therapists that I've been to. Um, and I've never been, I don't have like a past medical history. Like I've never had like any injuries or anything like that before. So it just kind of went from feeling like I was like a perfectly healthy person,
Mm.
and very active to just like someone who was just like in chronic pain all the time.
Mm. And you touched on something important there, actually, and it's when people find out about TMS and chronic pain, and they often read about it and think it depends on the individual. Some people have had a difficult childhood or they've gone through some stress, and so then maybe there's some correlation, but some people haven't. Like I know I had there was some normal teenage stress. I mean, I guess it wasn't so easy in my household all the time, but otherwise I had a good upbringing. And I remember you coming to me as well, going, "No, I think I feel very supported by my family." And very often people come into this thinking it shouldn't be happening to me because I had a good upbringing.
Yeah, I think that was definitely something like when I first came to you, and I learned about like kind of I answered a questionnaire that you had given me, and a lot of it was about like my childhood and like if I had suffered from any previous like trauma and things like that. And um, I was kind of like all my answers are just really kind of boring and like, you know, no, I've had like luckily, like I'm really grateful I've had like a really nice upbringing, really supportive like parents and like family and extended family. I've been really lucky to have like a really great circle of friends. healthy relationships, things like that. Um, so I was kind of like, you know, is this actually not going to work for me because I don't have any kind of anything really sinister to kind of uncover with you. Um, which wasn't really the case. Like, I mean, you know,
Yeah. No, it was the same with me when I had pain. It was like, no, I didn't go anything particularly difficult, you know. Obviously, anyone that's watching this, if they've gone through difficult things, and yes, there's some, things from the past, emotions that they need to bring forward, but it needn't be the case for you to have chronic pain. So,
no.
yeah. Okay, well, so then, so then we're at the point where, you've tried lots of things, you're really struggling to get an answer, feeling pretty hopeless about it. And then remind me what it was. How did you find this work? It was your mum found the book. Was that what it was?
Something, yeah, it was like, well, a lot earlier on, my mom had like sent me a podcast about this type of work. I think it was something related to like maybe like John Serno or something. Um, and I kind of was like a bit like I like rolled my eyes a little bit and was kind of like, well, like thinking, no, like I have actual pain. There's something actually physically wrong with my back. Kind of like, why are you sending me that? I think I gave it a bit of a listen, but like I didn't well, I wasn't really listening to it, I guess. I wasn't really considering it. That was like before maybe I kind of had extensive physical like treatments and like therapies and like investigations and like I think yeah, my mom just kind of it got to the point that my parents were like they wanted me to seek kind of therapy in general because of like they were quite worried that I was um I guess like kind of struggling like mentally. Um and then I was kind of like, would I ever find someone that maybe understands a bit more because like about like chronic pain? Never really thinking that like the therapy would actually like that this would be an answer to that I would like heal my pain, but I was like thinking, oh, maybe it will help me manage like mentally a bit better with it. I think that's the point that I got into. I kind of almost surrendered to like this is my life now, but maybe I can kind of cope with it a bit better. Um, and then I think, just like a few Google searches, but like, I don't know, therapy, chronic pain, like therapist for chronic pain, and you came up and yeah, I just kind of had a look at your website and I booked that like 30-minute like consultation where we just kind of chat through things. And I thought what was really nice about that is like you weren't you weren't like ready to like sign me up and like, you know, like send me a bill of like I don't know how much money, but like you weren't like wanting me to jump on board straight away. Like you made me like answer an extensive questionnaire and like made sure that like I was right for like this type of work. Um and kind of like that it wasn't just like, I had to tick a box and then I was in and I kind of felt like I was in safe hands in that way. Which is quite nice. But like definitely like don't get me wrong, I think like I came to it as like a bit of a last resort. I think it's important to say as well that like when dealing with like chronic pain, it is important to rule out like it's important for your own peace of mind and like in general it's important to like rule like to try some like physical therapies and like to like rule out like potential other causes because then you can really I think kind of focus on kind of healing through this like type of work and like it really helped me like eliminate like doubt that like actually no I have like a herniated disc in somewhere in my back and some like things like that. Um but yeah like I definitely had like elements of doubt like even signing up. But like I remember you kind of said like doubt is like important, like it, it's like you were like, I think you said you that like you've been doing this for like X amount of years, and you were like, still sometimes I kind of question things, which is like just human. Um, which was quite nice as well, because like I was like, oh, if I'm doubting this, should I really be like, signing up to this, like things like that. Um, but yeah,
There's this absolutism with emotions, particularly in the way that TMS is often presented, at least the healing process. No more fear, no more doubt, and that's just unrealistic.
yeah,
It's about, if we're really learning how to acknowledge emotions and allow them, we're going to sometimes feel doubt, and that's also welcome. Um, and once we feel a bit safer with the presence of doubt, we often notice it rises and falls, as you did notice, you know,
yeah,
um, and then it makes more space for believing that this can work. And I do also want to say a point about, yeah, ruling other things out. I think back to when I was struggling. If I could go to a doctor and they could give me a pill and it would go away, I would have taken that option. Like
yeah,
I would not have taken
yeah,
however many months uncovering my emotions
yeah,
option.
definitely,
That was not my first. So not only I know I'm the last resort. I
yeah.
understand.
And I didn't mean it in like in that kind of way, but I guess I think it just kind of naturally is, in the world we live in, like this will be the last resort, you know.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. So no, fully the case when I was struggling as well. I completely understand that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you brought up that thing about doubt, really, because I was gonna, again, you're preempting my questions. I was I was gonna say about the moments of struggle, because I remember at the beginning, we would speak about some of the doubt coming up for you, and it's quite common for people at the beginning, and they think if I'm doubting this at all, it's not gonna work. I need to believe it for it to work.
Yeah, but like for sure. I remember emailing you, I think like before we kind of fully got started, I remember emailing you kind of just like bullet points of like reasons like I kind of was doubting. I think often as well, like I felt like this, and I feel like a lot of other people would too. I think I was thinking, well, like this work definitely probably I can see that it clearly works for like loads of people, but like, I feel like I might be the one person in the one in 100 that actually it's not going to work for.
Mm.
And like, I feel like a lot of having spoken to a lot of people, I feel through like your kind of through the meditation and things like that and the breakout rooms that we do, a lot of other people like have the same kind of fear, I guess, and doubt, feeling like you're going to be the one that actually doesn't work for, um, or like, yeah, kind of that.
You're talking about on the Tuesday group calls when you speak to someone.
Yeah, like I found it. So like on the Tuesday group calls, but we do like a group meditation, and at this like it's just kind of open to people within the community to join, and we do like a check-in at the start, so everyone kind of checks in, and kind of tells people, like shares kind of how they're feeling, how their week's going, like like both like good and bad experiences and feelings, and then we like do a group meditation together, and then after Jonty puts us into breakout rooms, of like kind of usually like two people in each room, so you kind of get chatting to people. And especially when I was quite new, and had a lot of doubt and needed a lot of like reassurance, I found that like so like useful and like reassuring, and like I would like almost be like I would be asking, like it was really useful like being paired with a person who had was maybe like just coming out like to the end of their sessions with Jonty, and they had like made a lot of progress, and um like kind of asking them all like like so many questions, and like just kind of like learning from their experience, and kind of it would like answer a lot of questions that I had, and like kind of helped with feelings of like doubt I had as well. Um, but from that, I yeah kind of noticed that like a lot of us, like, well, even if we have different kind of types of chronic pain or chronic symptoms, we're all kind of feeling the same things,
Mhm.
and having a lot of the same thought processes, like one of them being like it's not going to work for me. Um, and yeah,
Thanks for sharing that. And I'm really glad in those breakout rooms that everyone kind of helps each other in that way, because obviously I don't know what's happening in the breakout room, but you guys always seem to be smiling when you come out. So I'm sure it's a
yeah, yeah. No, they're good. Like, I think it's good, like just like hearing different people's stories as well, and like it's just it's just a group of people who can really relate to one another, and like on that, it's like remembering when I was like having experiencing chronic pain, like daily symptoms of just like I felt like really like alone. And like I remember one of the things I was telling you, I was like I feel really lonely because I had like so many good friends, like family, um like my boyfriend, like everyone around me trying to like support me as best possible, but like I almost felt like they didn't like understand. And like if that was like one of the, I feel like feelings that was like really strong. I just felt like really lonely, in like how like feeling like no one fully understood, but like and knowing that they were like trying to like support me, and then kind of like having this community, like people really understand, and like people, feel the same way, and people like relate to one another quite a lot.
yeah. No, definitely. There's everyone around you doesn't really understand you though, in the same way.
Yeah.
It's fascinating because, I can't recall if you said so, but I've definitely heard people say to me that they know members of their family that have chronic symptoms. So it's just interesting that still there isn't that sense of connection or
Yeah, I think what I've learned though, like, and I think I remember you said to me like how once you kind of, I guess, like once you kind of get exposed to this like type of work, and like almost like a different world in a way, of like viewing pain and like chronic symptoms. Like I'm almost like just like conversations with people, I'm like picking up. I'm like, oh, I think that like they could do with like they are having experiencing chronic symptoms, and like but in some sense like you can't impose it on people. Like people are either open and receptive to like this type of like I guess work and like viewing chronic pain in this type of way, or they're not. um and I've always been quite, I feel like you should be, I feel like like I'm quite careful in like, you know never kind of um like forcing this like on people, because I really feel like you have to be in the right place to receive it. And because I remember like even, you know when my mom was kind of like telling me about this, I remember feeling really kind of annoyed, thinking like as if like as if the person that in the podcast was saying that like your pain isn't real, just because kind of a lot of it is caused by your brain,
Mm.
where it's actually like you're having real pain, real symptoms, but it's just that like it's been caused by your brain.
it can be confusing at first, can't it?
Yeah, it can be really confusing. And I think people like you have to be willing to, I guess, take the time to like learn about it and explore it and like receive like the knowledge and like education. And like some people are just like, you know, they're just not. So like you have to kind of, yeah, be careful.
Yeah, at the beginning. And it all seems a bit far-fetched and like this is all seems a bit woo-woo, but we don't think the same about parts of the body we take for granted. Like if we get cut, it just kind of the skin just heals. That's magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just
Just
like, yeah,
because we can't see, I think sometimes like you can't see inside your body, you know.
that's really the difference. So it just feels
Yeah.
can't be possible. But okay, so we can move on now to like what really helps you get better. Was there anything else before we move on to that you wanted to speak about? You struggled with the process? Is there anything else about the process? You mentioned doubt.
I think like when I first like started like doing sessions with you, I think I was really focused on like the end goal. And I remember a few times you were kind of saying like, oh, like, it's a journey. It's not really like uh it's like kind of almost like a journey. Like it's not like an end. Like there's not like you shouldn't be focused on like the end goal of like when you're not going to wake up one day and kind of be like, oh, I'm pain free. Um, you're like quite often people just kind of noticed gradually that like they're just not really in pain anymore. And I was like, having been in pain for so long, I was thinking like, oh, like what, like if I my back is no longer sore, like I'll be the first to know about it and I'll be like shouting it from the rooftops. Um, so I quite struggled with like kind of seeing this as like, you know, I guess a journey and not like I kind of felt like at the start I had it in my head that like I was like, right, I'll do the meditation and the journaling and then I'll be finished by June and my back will be fine for summer. And just like realizing I struggled realizing that that's not how it works. And that like you kind of these are practices that you should um kind of build into your like everyday life and kind of try to keep up even when you're not in pain anymore.
Certainly, we don't give ourselves enough space for, emotional regulation and support, mental health support, spiritual support, we speak about as well. Um, we're a lot more insistent, eat well and sleep well, but the other things, for some reason, we don't give ourselves time for. So yes,
Yeah.
it's a long journey. But it doesn't mean that symptoms can't ease, in early days in the process. To speak a bit about that, what was some of the like, how about first, tell everyone like the epiphany moments when you went, oh God, okay, that maybe it's in the middle of a meditation, or maybe it was the way that you attended to an emotion. Can you recall any epiphany moments you had along the way?
I feel like once I started to like realize like I think I had built up so much fear around um my back and like damaging it further, injuring it further, like the pain becoming more severe. And I think like once I kind of realized like there's nothing physically wrong with my back and I like started to like I fully believed like I fully realized that like my brain was kind of sending I guess signals of kind of pain towards this area because it had just been almost like trained to do so because I had just kind of been so concerned about being in pain for so long. And yeah, I think I just like once I was like, actually, I could maybe try and go for a run, and I could maybe try and you know like go for a walk with my friends, and like if it gets sore, then that's fine. But like I kind of felt really safe, and I think that was like a really like kind of epiphany moment for me. Um, I think as well like realizing like um I think it was like a lot of the work is I guess kind of being able to allow the presence of like emotions that like a lot of us repress um and like kind of like talking about like anger and like kind of like anger like jealousy like frustration like I was like I'm not an angry person like I'm not a jealous person like um but I think just realizing that like we all experience the feelings of anger, like jealousy, frustration, um, disappointment, like um, and just kind of realizing that like actually yeah, like these kind of emotions have been here all along, but like I don't allow myself to feel them. Um, I think that was like a big thing and realizing that like how, I think we're all like we're all almost like, you know, obviously like I think we've talked about it quite a lot, like in the society that we live in, where we all kind of, we can't express anger like day to day at like people who annoy us and like the importance of like letting that out in some way or another um is just massive. And like,
Mm.
you know, even like disappointment, things like that, like I just never even considered it before, but like, we do just repress a lot of emotions. And like, I had been repressing so much emotions, even though, as we discussed earlier, I had like, you know, like what I can say is like a perfect upbringing. Luckily, like, didn't have any like traumatic experiences, but like, we still all experience these like emotions and we need to express them in
Mm,
some way. I think that was quite an epiphany moment for me because I was kind of thinking, well, there's like nothing in me, like there's nothing here to kind of, you know, for me to get out. And once I kind of realized actually there was, and that was like quite like a pivotal moment. Um, I think like, yeah, I think realizing as well, even though like as I said, it was like difficult at the start, like realizing that like kind of to see it as like a bit of a journey and not like an end goal like in sight. I think like once I actually kind of fully like engaged with that, um, and kind of realized like this is like I'm almost like learning tools that like, you know, not only they're helping my pain, but they're helping me like deal with like just like day-to-day like experiences, like stressful experiences at work and like, feeling frustrated with people like in my life and as we all do, like dealing with like disappointment because like this like realizing that like I actually hate feeling disappointed about things, and it's a really difficult emotion to kind of allow myself to feel,
yeah.
um and yeah, just like that, like definitely it was just like I think like learning, like realizing that like I kind of cope better and like I could definitely cope better with situations. I think even like recently my mom was saying, like I've chatted with you about it, but like I've recently um I was in a job that like I really wasn't enjoying. And my mom was like, I was chatting to my mom about it because like we would I like kind of tell her everything. And she was saying, she was like, I feel like you're dealing with this like a lot better than you would have before. Um, and I feel like just kind of through meditating and like kind of like almost like tools I've kind of learned from you have helped not only with my pain, but like just with like everyday life kind of things that life throws at you.
What's it's again, people don't like to hear it when they're struggling, and I understand why, but the mind is not trying to hurt us by giving us symptoms in the body. It's trying to get us to this place where we're more empowered and we learn these tools so that, we do become, we're able to take things in our stride more in life.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear, with this recent thing that you're able to. And you brought up a good point about previously not even being able to acknowledge the fact that you were bearing. Like we're all masters at repressing.
Yeah.
So not even knowing, oh God, I'm not letting myself feel these things is the one thing. And then actually, what does it feel like to allow myself to feel disappointed, to feel fear? What does that actually feel like? A lot of people don't, because they're so good at pushing it away, they've never actually had to experience sitting with it.
Yeah.
And for you to get to the point of being able to go, you know what, I'm going to go for a run. I think I'm okay. You've done such good work before that, learning how to acknowledge something like fear,
Mm.
either. And you'd watched using these tools. That fear can feel really big when you first learn to allow it, but then it passes. So it seemed to gradually give you the confidence because you did this without me telling you go for a run. You just wait,
Yeah.
just like I'm gonna do it. It gradually started giving you the confidence to go, I think I'll be all right. Like if an
Yeah.
emotion comes up, I think I'll be okay with it, and I know that my back's fine. So, um, and you mentioned when you spoke about the tools, you've mentioned meditation. Was that the main one that you feel like helped?
Yeah, I think like for me, meditation was maybe the main one that helped, but definitely journaling really helped me as well. I think in journaling, like back in at the moment, I think meditation is the main thing I've kept up. I think like back in like in the thick of it, basically like when, like I was still obviously like having a lot of pain and I guess it's kind of almost like when I started this work, it was almost like opening a can of worms, I guess, and there was like all these emotions like surfacing that like I had been like repressing for quite a long time, unbeknownst to myself. And I felt like journaling really helped with that because I was like, all of a sudden I was like, really angry at like, not really angry, but like, all of a sudden I like, was realizing that, it's not bad to feel frustrated.
Mhm.
And I would just kind of take out my journal and I would just like, write a page and a half about like a frustrating experience that I've had. And I think, yeah, like I think that's one thing as well. I feel like we before I had met you, or like um I feel like I feel like uh I believe that like feeling angry was like bad, and we should like, like it's bad for me, like I shouldn't feel anger. I kind of felt like feeling, all the things I mentioned, like disappointment, fear, anxious, like I thought like feeling those emotions, I think we're all kind of taught that feeling those emotions is quite negative. So it's just like, um, yeah, it's just a really different kind of like way spin on like, all of a sudden I was like journaling about like how I was feeling disappointed about a certain situation, how something made me really, really sad, how I was feeling really anxious about like something else. And like I was feeling like actually like really kind of relieved after like as if I had kind of just like, and almost sometimes like things that you like I wouldn't actually like dare ever like say to another person, but you can just get it out on like paper or like type it out. I was never really great with the typing, but you can, I remember at one stage you said like you can even like send voice notes to yourself, which actually I still do the odd time, to be fair. Like if I just can't be bothered, if I don't have like a pen, paper to hand, or if I just can't be bothered writing. Um, and yeah, it's just kind of like, you know, it's like you feel like you're saying these things to like you're getting them out, even though like, no one has to be on the receiving end of it. And yeah, there's still things that I would probably never say to another person, you know. But yeah, that really, really helped. I think as well, like I started listening to, I said like the kind of, as I say, like when I got exposed to this type of like work, when I kind of started doing some research, like came across like a podcast. I think maybe you actually shared it with me, and I think it's like mind, like body, and just listen. I would like listen to podcasts. I kind of chose specific ones about like chronic kind of back pain, and I felt like, you know, um, but then even like I started listening to ones about people who had like chronic IBS symptoms or chronic migraines or chronic, like feeling dizzy all the time. Um, and yeah, I just like people's stories just like amazed me, and I was like, oh my God, like if this person like who had like pain for like this amount of time, and it was like that debilitating. If they made a full recovery, then like so can I. And yeah, that was really good too.
And here you are on that version of the call.
Yeah, it's like it almost feels like a distant like 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 nightmare in a way of like me being in that much pain all the time. Um yeah. It's funny what our brains that let us forget, you
Right.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. So then in that regard, where are you now? All the things that you said that you were struggling with, back to exercise, back to everything.
Yeah, like back oh my God, I just feel like my everything is back to the way it used to be. I feel like I almost have a new like appreciation for like, I don't know, just like life and like movement and like just like really small things. Just like, I don't know, being able to like go and do my food shopping and things like that. Like just but yeah, back to I've joined a run club in London. I ran a marathon last October with my boyfriend, which I like just thought that was like thought that was like off the cards for me ever. I was even told by some like by like a chronic pain specialist that I went to see. He was like, "Oh, you actually should just like you can't run." Like I think he told me that I had scoliosis. And like he was like, "You actually just can't run." And yeah, like there that was like maybe like February, and then like that October that year, I like ran a marathon. Yeah, just back to doing all the things I love, like with like back to the gym, back to like just doing everything with friends. Like I never like I think every for a while it was like everything I would go to do, I would think about my back first, whereas like that just never comes into. And like I do get like the odd kind of like feeling, a small feeling of like, like twinges of pain here and there, but I feel like my approach to it is a lot different, and like how I kind of perceive it is a lot different as well.
Amazing to hear, really. Yeah, you do. You feel like you're in a hole. You feel like it's going to last forever. You know, this myth of forever. I'm never going to get out of this. And then one day you're like, I remember just normal things. That's what people tell me whenever I say, where do they want to get to? They go,
Yeah.
normal, normal again.
Yeah.
But
Like
it is.
literally just like
Right. Say it again.
it's literally just like normal. Like I remember saying to you, like even like about feeling lonely because like you're like when you're in chronic pain and you're looking at like just your friends being able to just stand for like prolonged periods of time without being in pain, and like just kind of feeling like I remember thinking like I'm like you don't realize how lucky you are to like not
Mm.
like to just like do normal things. I like remember thinking that, and that definitely makes you feel really lonely, but like yeah, just being able to do normal things is like the most it's like the best thing ever.
Normal things. Yeah, really. Take it for granted until we're struggling. Um,
Yeah, that's literally it.
there was one more thing I felt the need
Yeah.
to ask because it is also I'm trying like what people tend to ask in this or go through in this process is like what feels like relapse moments where they feel like they've gotten better and then it feels like it's hurting them again. And I can recall that happened to you a couple of times.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I think like we've been doing like sessions for like maybe like a few months, and I had made a lot of progress. Like my back pain had definitely like eased off. Like it was still there, but like it had eased off quite a bit. Um, and then I think I just think I was having quite a stressful time. I had a stressful like experience at work maybe, and I went for like a run, maybe a bit longer, bit more like a bit longer distance than I had kind of been doing previously. Um, anyway, my pain kind of flared up again. Um, and yeah, like it's really triggering. And it's kind of like quite frightening because like you feel like you have made all this progress, and then I felt like, I'm back to square one, and I don't know, it's just really normal to have like all those feelings, I guess. And I think I just emailed you, messaged you, and as always, you're really quick to reply. And I just kind of like explained to you like what had what had come about, what I had been doing, and like the pain that like had resurfaced. And I think I just kind of like being able to sit with the feelings of kind of fear, frustration as well, um, and kind of yeah, like like fear that like I kind of was like fearing that like this is actually like back to square one. Undone all my progress, um, but yeah, like within a few days, it kind of just like eased again, and then I think whilst like moments like that are like really like triggering and like they're like not very nice to experience, they almost like help quite a lot because you realize that like they eat like the pain eases, and you actually kind of reaffirms to you, and it kind of like maybe that element of doubt that's kind of hanging about like in the corner of your brain, which is really normal, kind of like keeps that like kind of almost like puts that at bay a little bit. Um, but yeah, that happened to me, I'd say like two or three times. And I think what I noticed was that like, on the third time that the pain resurfaced, I was kind of feeling like, oh, like this is okay. It'll be fine. Like I kind of knew I just needed to sit with how I was feeling. Need to maybe ease off on the exercise a little bit. Because obviously, you know, you like, yeah, you need to kind of look at like physical aspects too. Like, am I kind of overexerting myself a little bit? Um, but yeah, I think I was able to cope with it a lot better the more it happened.
I love that you mentioned you had a couple of those up and down moments and the kind of like the change in perspective about it because not only are up and down moments common, but they're also necessary because they do get you to a place, they do get you to a place eventually. You've had enough up and down moments to go, oh, I know I just need to be with the emotions. And you just start to teach your nervous system it's safe. And you just need to adjust a couple of the components of health that we speak about. And because that's the reality of life, we are going to have ups and downs. So,
Yeah, and like I think like something that you've said before, it's like we feel like like the like good times are gonna last forever, but like I think it's like I also like when my back pain is healed, I will want for nothing more. Like I will just go about my life being happy all the time, and like yeah, it's just like other things crop up, like you like I've definitely had to deal with like a lot of other difficult things since my back pain like is no longer really there. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of life, isn't it?
kind of life. Yeah. And my hope really is that this process, at least it feels this way to me, that our minds create symptoms in the body to teach us to take things on.
Yeah,
That's just a belief I choose to have and what I choose to impart on others. Because it makes you believe that everything's working for you. Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
So, okay, well, as we come close to the end, is there any like final advice that you're like, this is people really need to know this if they're struggling right now or they're considering a process like this? Is there anything? I'll put you on the spot a bit.
Yeah, yeah, you didn't prepare me for this one. I think like I think I I think having doubt is normal, and I think that's really important to know. Um, I think I think like also like having a lot of fear, like fearing that it's going to be forever is really normal, and it is a really scary place to be. Um, I think definitely like I'm really grateful that I found this type of like work and like gave it the chance that I gave when I did, because like I had been in pain for like maybe a year and a half or so. But sometimes I think, imagine if I had just kind of ignored it and didn't really kind of, like read into it, kind of educate myself on it a bit, and kind of give it a chance. Then like, I who knows how long I might be in pain for. Um, so yeah, I think like having an open mind is like really, really important.
Beautiful. Yeah, no, great advice. Yeah, no, it could very well have just gone on for longer. My pain went on for 10 years.
Yeah. And like I have spoken with other people who've yeah, like had pain for like a lot longer as well. And like, yeah, I think once this kind of reaches more people, I think it'll just like people won't be in pain for as long, which would be nice.
Should be nice, right? Soon, soon. So, okay. Anything else you wanted to share today, Rose?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
All
I
right.
hope it's helpful.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it'll be helpful for lots of people. These success stories are wonderful. I'm really happy that you get to do one and get to be
Yeah, me
there
too.
for watching it. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people, but it's
Sure.
good to see you and bye, everyone.
Bye.